your overall thoughts on this?
Oh, I was. I don't know. I just got really excited because I think we've all been bracing ourselves for Shogun World, but the idea, the Raj, other than the hint of the Bengal tiger washing up on shore, the idea of the Raj as a world was not talked about in the press before the season premiered, and so it was just a nice surprise. Oh, here's this whole other world that nobody has talked about that we get plunged into. I just like it kicks off with Ramin Djawadi, I presume, doing like an Indian-esque orchestration of the White Stripes Seven Nation Army, and that's just really fun when we've heard the player piano cover all these pop songs to hear like a sitar doing the White Stripes.
Yeah.
And I really liked the Grace character a lot. With just this context, you're immediately like when this whole section ends, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, but when the whole thing ends, my instinct, and I think a few other people's, was like, oh god, I hope she comes. I assume she's gonna come back. I hope she comes back. And then by episode's end, we have the answer to that. But I even got tweets from people watching, like, oh my god, is that the last we see of her? I liked her so much. Is this just a random cold open? But no. And so yeah, I liked all of that. And I think the gun stuff, the more I watched it, the more I thought about it, the more I really admired the very tidy storytelling it's doing, which not only establishes, as far as I'm concerned, that these are two human guests, but it also establishes that when she shoots him with the gun, that's happening before the park-wide rebellion.
Right.
And when he gets shot just a few minutes later in near the tent, that's mid-rebellion. So we know the time. For me, it anchors it in time. I've heard. Do you want to hear the theory that I've heard the most on Twitter and email about how that might be wrong?
Bring it on.
I disagree with this theory, but I understand why it exists. A lot of people think we're getting another timeline misdirect, and that Katja Herbers, the actor who's playing Grace, is actually a younger version of Teresa, the character we met last season. Now, Teresa is played by Danish actress Sitze Babett-Knudsen. Katja Herbers is from the Netherlands. They both have this very faint, lovely, plummy European accent. And I think some people sort of remarked on the way that she holds her cigarette, the way she sits, all this sort of stuff. I do not think that's the case. I think we are very clearly anchored in a time where the tiger then washes up on the shore of Westworld, and that's what we saw in episode 1. But I understand